to the second baseman, Cano. The Yankees are back on top. World champions for the 27th time. From the top on down, here comes a 1-2 pitch. Red Sox win the World Series. 5-1 the final tonight. And the best team in baseball wins it all in 2018.
Brady, barring a defensive foul, the game ends here to the end zone. Hernandez is there, tipped and batted. Gronkowski can't get it. Incomplete. And the New York Giants, given last rites by many in December, are the Super Bowl champs in February.
The rain continues.
Yes, it does. They've got to snap it one more time.
It ain't over.
The ball will end up in the hands of Tom Brady on the kneel down. And what did he say to us the other day? He says, I pray to win another Super Bowl. So help me. I'll never ask again. Can I just get this one, he said.
Everybody, how we doing today? We're back with another episode of 95 North Sports. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Corbus. This is our second episode, and we're just gonna let the cat out of the bag here. Eric is not here with me tonight. I'm gonna be soloing it. Unfortunately, it's been a little bit since our last episode, but I got sick. Eric's gotten sick. Obviously, this whole coronavirus thing is going on, and the world's pretty crazy. I'm not in school right now. Eric's not in school right now, so. Unfortunately, you're just stuck with me, and I'm sorry if you guys don't like that, but that's just gonna have to be how it goes for a while. So like I said, this whole virus thing is pretty crazy. It's pretty nuts, and it's affected the entire world, and obviously it's affected the sports world, and that's gonna be our main topic of discussion today. That's pretty much what our entire episode is going to be about today, because it's a big deal. I don't think we've ever had a time like this where we stopped. I was even talking to my dad, and we were talking about 9/11 and how serious that was, and how play went on, and it really helped people cope with what happened, and what was going on around the world. Sports was always there, and now we can't have that, obviously, because it endangers fans, endangers the public, endangers the athletes, and it's a big deal. And unfortunately, sports is gone. Like, we just don't have anything. Everything. The NBA suspended their season, the MLB suspended their season, the NHL suspended their season. College basketball, March Madness is done. Any spring college sports are done. College wrestling national championships done. Any winter sport national championships pretty much done. All of those athletes, lost chances to be national champions, and that's something we're going to get into also. So we're going to try and cover, or at least I'm going to try and cover, all aspects of what's going on right now, or the best way I can. So let's just get into it. I'm going to start it off with the NBA. Obviously, that's where we saw the first sign of season suspension. It's the first pro play. Well, actually, that's a lie. I take that back. In soccer in the MLS, someone from Arsenal, I believe, don't quote me on that one, he came with the first positive, with the first athlete who tested positive for the coronavirus. And that has obviously, all soccer is suspended at the moment, and obviously Italy's a big part of that. Italy's on lockdown completely, so it's not just affecting our domestic sports, it's also international. This whole thing is crazy, but I'm going to start talking about the NBA, like I said, and obviously Rudy Gobert from the Utah Jazz is the first player in the NBA to test positive for it, and since then the NBA, it's obviously suspended their season, which is crazy. Completely suspended for at least a little bit. I know that I read something that Adam Silver is hoping that they can reevaluate and hopefully come back by sometime in April. mid to end April. Hopefully do like a whole month thing and then reevaluate and come back. And obviously we hope for the best for all players infected, but it's just crazy because one person made a spiral. Donovan Mitchell, he's also a Jazz player. He also tests positive for the coronavirus. There's been, I think, one or two more since then. So it obviously started at this, or it could have. I mean, I'm speculating, but started with one player on the Jazz, and it came to someone else. And Rudy Gobert's obviously, he's released an apology. He said he's sorry. He understands that he handled it poorly, and he says that he's doing okay. And Donovan Mitchell said he's doing okay, and they're doing great. But I think the reason why they ultimately came to the decision to suspend it was because obviously these players have interactions with fans. They sign autographs, they give high fives. And it's a big deal because you don't want to, let's say you give a high five to a little kid and you have it and you don't know, and you give it to that little kid, and the little kid, it's shown that the little kids and the older, and the senior citizens and the older people are most affected. So we have to be, or more harshly affected. So we have to be careful with that. So I think they made a great choice. And like I said, the NBA suspended the regular season indefinitely. And Adam Silver says he's going to reevaluate the situation after 30 days and see what happens, because they say after 2 weeks, hopefully you're okay and you can resume regular activities. But we obviously just don't want this to spread. And there's still some basketball to be played, and the NBA can still come back. The whole season's not lost. There's still some basketball to be played. They're not just going to, scrap the whole season. It's just not going to go to crap. Like, these guys put in the work. Hopefully they can come back and figure something out. But it's nuts. It's all around the league. It's crazy what's happening. And it's spreading, unfortunately, and everyone's just got to be careful. Obviously, wash your hands and all that stuff. NBA, the MLB, same thing. They delayed their season 2 weeks, opening day 2 weeks, which for me is heartbreaking because obviously, Mr. Eric Wright over in Gray, Connecticut is a big Red Sox fan. Obviously, I am a huge Yankees fan, and I always look forward to opening day every single year with the Yankees. And just quick side note, Eric and I, unfortunately, are going to miss, or at least possibly miss. It's definitely not going to start on April 9th like we thought it was going to be. We have never missed, like I said, I believe we said this last episode, we have never missed Hartford Yard Goats opening day. We both go to school in Connecticut. Eric went to UHart for a while. I also go to UHart. Eric now goes to UConn. We have never missed a Yard Goats opening day since freshman year of college. This would be our last opening day as college students or as undergrad students. And we don't want to miss it. And it was supposed to be on April 9th. I was about to buy our tickets for us. And then the MLB released a statement saying they are canceling all spring training games for the time being. And they are pushing opening day back 2 weeks, which means no Yard Goats for at least a little bit, which is really upsetting because obviously we love the Yard Goats and we want to see them play and we want to have another record season when it comes to sold out games because it's the Yard Goats and they're great. But we're not going to see opening day right now. It stinks. It sucks. It's a pain in the ass, but what are you going to do? I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. So talk about the MLB, obviously suspending all operations, including spring training, first 2 weeks of the regular season, and all operations suspended for 4 weeks. There was 2 more weeks of spring training, and then we're getting into the regular season, but no more. The original set start date for opening day was March 26th. But now nothing will be played earlier than April 9th. So that stinks. That really does stink. Obviously, this is only for safety. Every commissioner of every sport has been releasing statements about, we're in it for the well-being of our fans, of our players, of our personnel. Might I add that in the NBA, Rudy Gobert is donating like $500,000 to, anyone affected. Zion Williamson donating $100,000 to all Pelicans personnel or like arena workers, because obviously they're out of jobs right now. Players are doing that around the league, and I think it's great. I think, obviously some people are out of work for right now, and some people rely on that one job to, feed their families. So I think it's great that they're helping out. It's a class act. I think it is. I think it's great, but this is just crazy. It's crazy that, you turn the TV on, you got nothing to watch. Well, for someone who watches sports all the time, it's crazy. You turn the TV on, there's just nothing. You turn SportsCenter on, and they're talking about what's going on right now because there's nothing else to talk about. There's no spring training to talk about. There's no basketball to talk about. There's no college sports to talk about. There's no XFL if you want to get into that. NHL, AHL, everything's done. Everything's gone. And we've really just never seen it. It's just dark. It's just ghost. Everything just went black. I think it's crazy. The XFL, there was one person on the Seattle. Let me get that team. It is the Seattle Dragons. That's what it is. One person tested positive for Seattle Dragons. They didn't release the name, but one person did test positive. So the rest of their regular season games are over. I don't know if that means that they're going to do playoffs. I don't know if that means that they're just going to be done for the season. But they will pay all of their athletes for the 2020 regular season. All ticket holders will be issued refunds or credit towards other games. And the XFL has also said that they are committed 100% to play a full season in 2021 and in future years, which is great because I think the XFL was something great for sports fans. I do. I think it was awesome. I think it was a lot of fun for a lot of people. And it's essentially, minor league for the NFL. It's like guys able to show their talents and, hopefully get signed by NFL teams. So that's great. That's fantastic. And hopefully next season they come back and, do exactly what they're doing now, in terms of ratings and in terms of viewership and merchandise sales and ticket sales and all that stuff. Also, if you hear some loud noise, that's my sister and my mom being annoying because I'm in my room here at home. Unfortunately, I'm not in any sort of studio, so sorry about all that. Okay, so let's talk about the NHL just a little bit. I know the NHL, their season is well underway. The AHL is getting into playoffs. And all that's suspended right now, just like everyone else. There's no time limit officially of when the NHL is going to possibly come back. It's kind of rough because there are a lot of teams that are in tight races here. The Lightning are playing really well. There are a lot of teams. The Rangers are playing okay. There are a lot of teams that are playing really well that you're taking this away. And what also is crazy is that every time you look up online anything about any of these leagues suspending anything, they always talk about the other leagues that have also suspended. So it's not just, our league is suspended. It's not just the NHL is gone. It's everyone talking about every league, which I think is crazy because you realize how severe it is. The self-quarantine, everything that they say is important. But then you also think that these athletes, they're being self-quarantined and they're not going to stop working. So I don't know if that's a worry. I don't know if saying, our season is suspended for a month or whatever it is, 2 weeks, a month, indefinitely, whatever. But they're all still working. I saw a video today. Serge Ibaka created an in-home gym in his house, in a spare room, I don't know, in his basement, whatever. And he's still working out. As long as he's quarantined, he's still going to work out. So I think that should not be a worry. I've heard some people talking about players or possibly be worried that the players, are going to be off for this amount of time. When they come back, maybe they'll get hurt because they're not in the same shape. They haven't had the time to work out. You have to remember, these guys can't go to their facilities. They just, they're quarantined. It's just what it is. So they got to figure out things on their own sides of things. So that's something that I don't know if you should really be worried about, because they are professional athletes, and I don't think they're that stupid where they're going to be like, I'm just going to do nothing and just, lay around all day and like be a lazy sack of crap. Like, they're just not going to do that. They're professional athletes. It's what they do for their jobs. So I don't know if you should worry about any of that, but, it is a little bit of a concern coming back cold after not playing for a little bit. What's going to happen, chemistry, everything like that. So it is a little bit of a concern, but I don't know if I'd be too worried about it. The NHL has, there's a player on the Stars. I'm blanking on his name, my fault, but he has been tested. They haven't come back if he was tested positive or not. So obviously it's spreading around the NHL too, unfortunately. But I think the NBA has the worst right now, which is unfortunate. But as long as they can nip those in the butt, then hopefully everything will be okay. So a big topic of discussion, and I've been seeing it on social media. Some of my friends have been through it. People I know, like this is just a big issue. So I'm a senior in college. There are a lot of people that I know that are coming into their last semester, or they're in their last semester, and this is their last season. This was their last season of winter sports. This was their last season of spring sports. Because of this whole thing, they don't get to play that last season. It's heartbreaking because, there are some people who worked all year. For example, yes, the NCAA has suspended or canceled March Madness, which, by the way, is what needs to be done, but absolutely unreal that we're not going to be able to witness some March Madness in the year 2020. That's unbelievable. It's something that people look forward to every year. There's something that gamblers, it's what they ride a lot of their stuff on. March Madness is one of the biggest events, other than the Super Bowl, most likely in the year, 100%. And we're just not going to have one this year. This time last year, I was courtside against first round of the March Madness. I saw John Morant have his ridiculous game in Hartford against, Wichita State? John Morant, Carson Edwards for Purdue, same thing. This time last year, that's where I was. I was getting ready to do that. And now this year, we're just not going to have it. And I think it's what needs to be done, but it's super unfortunate. So there are college athletes, NCAA wrestling, the tournament cut. Any chance anyone had of being a national champ, they work all year for this. Done. Any sport, it's just all done. They're originally going to do just athletes, no fans, or limited family. And then eventually, the NCAA made the decision to just take it all away. And it's heartbreaking because, these people are like, what I work all year for if I don't get the chance to show that I'm a national champ. And it's true. What did they work all year for? But that's just how it goes. And that's the unfortunate side of the whole thing. Like I said, there are athletes that lost their senior year spring season that don't ever get to put a jersey back on again, or at least a college jersey, or a jersey in general. I have read up on it that the NCAA Division I Council has recommended that eligibility relief to be provided to all student athletes who participate in a spring sport. I know that I'm almost positive that D3 and D2 has been confirmed that they will get another year of eligibility, and I believe D1, since this article was written, is also getting eligibility. I don't know how that would work with, certain sports, depending on what your actual school eligibility is, but I'm sure everyone will figure it out. So they have listed the sports that classify as spring sports, and that's baseball, beach volleyball. Well, I don't know who plays beach volleyball. It's kind of cool. Baseball, beach volleyball, men's and women's golf, women's lacrosse, men's lacrosse, rowing, softball, men's and women's tennis, men's and women's track and field, men's volleyball, women's water polo. They're all considered spring sports by the NCAA. So they will all receive an extra year if they choose to take it. I think That was a well-played thing by the NCAA. I think they need to do it. I think people were very upset by it, although they understood. If they choose to take it, they choose to take it. But the option's there, and I think that's great. But you have to remember, some of these people, some of these guys, this is their last year. This is their grad year. They're not going to have, some of them are grad students. They're not going to have any other reason to go back to college. And if they're not going pro, they're not going to go back to play a sport. That's just not what they're going to do. For example, I go to University of Hartford, and the NCAA suspended all championship games played this previous Saturday, and obviously March Madness. So Hartford was supposed to play the University of Vermont, number 1 seed, great team. Usually makes a championship every year. In the last 5, 6, 7 years, they've been really good. We made it to the chip. We're a really good team this year. We have some really good players. We have some really good grad student players where this is their 5th year. And that was all taken away from them. Coach Gal, the head coach of the Hartford's men's basketball team, Malik Ellison, he's a grad student. He's a guard, and he's unbelievable. He's so good. They were on ESPN. They were talking about how the fact that they had the chance to win the chip and go to March Madness, and all got stripped away from them just like that. And it's heartbreaking. It really is. And it's like that for hundreds of other schools around the country. It really is. Anyone in the Big East, anyone who wanted to fulfill their dreams of playing in March Madness. Rutgers had a chance to be in March Madness for the first time in God knows how many years, probably like 25 years, something like that. It's definitely not that long, but this is their first good year in a really long time. So it's all been stripped away just like that. And it stinks. It sucks. It's terrible. But that's just the unfortunate part about it. It really is. The America East did a really great thing. They named the 2020 All-America East team. It's all seniors from the University of Vermont and the University of Hartford out of, respect for the fact that they didn't get to play their game. And everyone was a little upset by it. But, like I said, that's just how it goes. I think the NCAA did a great thing by honoring the eligibility rule, by letting them come back for an extra year if they choose to do so. And yeah, this whole thing's crazy. It's a little nuts. I'm very interested to see how these sports will pan out and how it'll affect the athletes. It'll affect the teams. It's gonna be wild. It really is. But hopefully it all works out for everyone because the way the world is right now, it's just nuts. It's just everything shutting down, and I don't really know what's gonna happen. But it should be interesting. I think we just need sports back. We really do. A world without sports is not a world that I want to live in, obviously, because I'm sitting here talking about sports by myself in a room and no one's around, and I'm basically talking to myself. But that's a conversation for another time. Yeah, so this has just been crazy, but I'll keep you guys updated. Hopefully release another episode soon. I guess since I'm home doing nothing, another episode is going to come out fairly soon if there's any updates with any of these stories, which I'm sure there will be. But like I said, unfortunately, Eric's not going to be able to be here. It'll probably just be me. So if you don't like me, I guess you don't have to listen. Sorry about that. But yeah, so stay tuned, and I'll keep you all updated. And thanks for listening to this episode of 95 North Sports. Like I said, I'm Kyle Corbus, and I'll see you next time.